We've been talking about a book called The Ultimate Evil by Maury Terry. Specifically, this deals with what appears to be an intelligence front. It's certainly a satanic cult with strong Nazi links, and it basically links up the Manson family and their killings with the so-called Son of Sam killings in New York in the late 1970s, the 44 caliber killings. This program basically, or this book I should say, in many ways attests to the genius of Mae Brussell, by the way, whose World Watchers program is aired twice a week here on KFJC. By the way, let me interrupt. For those Mae Brussell listeners who may have tuned in last Thursday evening at 9, expecting the Mae Brussell broadcast, the tape itself was stolen or destroyed or whatever from my mailbox over at sister station KKUP, where it was resting after its Monday night airing. In the future, since apparently the situation at KKUP is not secure enough to prevent sabotage by some of the infiltrating hostile elements over there, we're not going to leave the tapes in the mailbox anymore, so we won't have a repetition of this particular situation. But suffice it to say that KKUP is a badly infiltrated media voice. I've been able to identify a number of probable intelligence agents on our staff there, and no doubt one of those lovely creatures was responsible for the theft and destruction of the Mae Brussell tape last week. However, we're going to take security measures to see to it that does not happen again. My apologies to those of you who may have been inconvenienced or disappointed by the lack of Mae Brussell last Thursday evening. Now, with regard to The Ultimate Evil, the book The Ultimate Evil is, as I said, it in many ways attests to the genius of Mae Brussell. She, for many years, has been claiming that these serial killings, the Manson killings, the Berkowitz killings, and others, were not the work of lone nuts any more than our political assassinations were, but basically represented a particularly insidious form of terrorism in which the general public is subjected to these horrendous killings, and it creates a public sentiment for a police state. People want law and order. They don't want to, in any way, jeopardize their personal security by allowing all of these perceived screwballs to be running around. In point of fact, as the book The Ultimate Evil points out, these killings are in fact being done by an organized group. Manson and Berkowitz were indeed involved, but they were only peripherally involved, and they took the fall for the more powerful people. We will go into some of that information this evening, and we're going to be we're going to be taking off, I guess one could say, from The Ultimate Evil this evening. But The Ultimate Evil is a very, very important book. I would encourage all of you who are in a position to do so to get out and read it, and it really confirms what Mae Brussell has been working on for a long time, although the book itself does not go quite as far as I would have liked it to go. Now, this evening's broadcast is going to be combined with the prepared portion of last week's program and with the first installment on The Ultimate Evil from 3 weeks ago, and those programs will be amalgamated into an archive program that will be on permanent file with archives on audio. So if you've missed any of the information about The Ultimate Evil or any of the things that we're going to be talking about this evening, they will be amalgamated, as I said, into an archive program that will be on permanent file with archives on audio. But again, we're going to have a very long prepared portion this evening. I hope we have time for some phone calls, but due to some developments that have emerged in the news this week, and in fact were rather accurately anticipated by some of the material we've talked about in the past, we're going to take the time to go over this and give it the treatment that it's really due. Now, last week, one of the things that I mentioned was that this week we're going to begin looking at the Presidio child molestation case against the background of the satanic quote-unquote activities of the process, the umbrella cult, which is strongly implicated in the Son of Sam killings as well as the Manson group killings. Now, this past week, that Presidio child molestation case has broken wide open. I mean, it has exploded, and we're going to be talking about that case. That at the time, last Sunday, I had a hunch that the Presidio child molestation case would intersect with the Ultimate Evil, with the umbrella cult of Satanists. And again, the Satanist cult is simply a cover. While the jerks that are used at the operation level believe in that, in point of fact, the satanic activities serve to mask much more, shall we say, terrestrial activities such as kiddie porn, prostitution, the making of snuff flicks, films in which someone is actually killed on film, usually in a sexual context, drug smuggling, gun running, political assassination, and activities more befitting the intelligence organization that the process basically appears to be. Again, because when you start talking about Satanism, people tend to get a little weird. Certainly it's an offbeat kind of thing, and I want to re-emphasize, and we'll state it again, that Satanism here is really mostly the cover. It does serve as a unifying glue for many of the people that are used at the operational level, but again, the people that pull the strings, the people up top, are not, well, some of them may believe in Satan, but it appears to be much, much more to it. Now, let me give you a rundown specifically on what we're going to be talking about this evening. We're going to begin by taking a look at an organization called the Temple of Set in San Francisco. There were some indications as of last Sunday that this organization might very well have intersected with the umbrella of satanic cults that our intelligence system appears to be using to further their own ends. This past week, a lot of things have developed which have actually indicated some hard links between some people implicated in the Temple of Set and the group implicated in the ultimate evil. And we're going to be talking about the Temple of Set, a satanic cult, which is, or actually a satanic temple, I should say, which is run by a very high-ranking Army Intelligence Reserve officer who himself is a psychological warfare specialist with explicit, overt Nazi inclinations, although he is equivocal about those Nazi inclinations. We're going to begin by taking a look at an article from last Monday's Examiner, and that specifically talks about Michael Aquino, the fellow's name is, talks about his background in military intelligence and psychological warfare, talks about his explicit Nazi activities, talks about the fact that other members of the Temple of Set appear to be involved in military intelligence, talks about the link-up between Michael Aquino, a man named Anton Szandor LaVey, who we're going to be talking about, and specifically Roman Polanski.